If you found yourself caught in a zombie virus outbreak right in the middle of your high school, what would you do? A high school teacher tried to protect his son from bullying by injecting him with the rage virus. This isn't your typical zombie virus that leaves the host brain dead. In addition to the hordes, we need to fend off hybrids. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Jonas virus in All of Us Are Dead. We start out following a group of bullies, mercilessly beating a kid. When he can take no more, he snaps. Overcome with rage, the kid bum rushes his attackers, swinging for the fences, clawing at them, biting at them. Before he can sink his teeth into any of the bullies, they launch him off the rooftop. Miraculously, the kid survived. He's taken to a hospital where his father, Mr. Lee, shows up to check in on his son, only he ignores the actual doctor and goes straight to his son's room instead. Why, you may ask? Well, apparently this guy's a mad scientist who basically decided to test a zombie virus on his kid to help him deal with bullies. No, I'm not joking. They want us to believe a selfless high school teacher created a functioning zombie virus in his high school lab and department, where countless unscrupulous government agencies and bioterrorists with unlimited budgets have failed. Not buying it. He must be a contractor at the South Korea Institute of Virology. Regardless, infecting his own son to fend off bullies is beyond insane. Ever heard of martial arts? There's dojos everywhere that you could enroll your son in that'll give him a fighting chance. If that fails, which it might because he's getting ganged up on, then find out who they are, where they live, and Ray Valcoro they're at. But before you do any of the above, tell a teacher first. Not so they'll help you, more so to establish preceding evidence from a witness that you were being bullied before you curb stomped them. You could at least try dragging your son's beaten blue ass to the cops and principal's office to rat these snakes out before infecting him with an irreversible, uncontrollable, highly contagious virus that turns living things into homicidal maniacs, then setting him loose at school. The dad here is objectively way more evil than the bullies, despite his supposed good intentions. Obviously, he's gonna try and cover this up with a Bible, and I'm not talking about the scriptures. Unfortunately, Jinsu's too angry to die, and his dad is too stubborn to end his failed science experiment right here. I can only imagine the dad carted his zombified son to another unsecured location, kinda like his science lab, where he's storing mice infected with the rage virus under his desk in an unlocked box. Needless to say, a bad idea. It's especially dumb because at this point, his son and wife were already infected zombies that he nearly killed himself as a last resort, and had admitted that there was no antidote, no cure, no treatment, that it was a horrible experiment that got out of control, and still kept infected mice in his school science lab. No, this wasn't on purpose. Otherwise, he would have purposefully injected people or something. This guy's literally just an idiot, especially when curious students like this girl can just waltz in for no reason at all. Seriously, she and her friends were about to go get food, but she heard something and had to check it out. Okay. In the lab, she finds a spooky, rattling cage with a clearly pissed off creature inside it and attempts to pet the lab rat. You know, those furry little guys that we use to test basically everything on. To be fair, it is a high school lab, so the chances of contracting Ebola here is fairly low. However, why even risk getting bitten? Jesus, just go play with your neighbor's dog or something. Mr. Lee catches her. Knowing what this could potentially spiral into, he detains the girl. However, even come nightfall, he continues to leave this girl barely sedated and plastic cuffed to a radiator in his classroom. Come on, man. At minimum, this is what real metal handcuffs, foot cuffs, and basements are for. A rage-infected person left alone for any amount of time could bust out of these restraints and unleash hell, and wouldn't you know it. Still half human, she stumbles into Miss Park's classroom, muttering that the science teacher abducted her, gave her weird shots, and tried to kill her. Unaware of her condition, they rush her to the school's infirmary. The rage infection is rapidly spreading, coursing through her cold blood. The nurse sedates her and calls an ambulance. At the hospital, they properly assess the girl from what I can tell. Unable to figure out what's wrong with her, they try to give her an MRI. Bro, the second a chick folds her own spine up like a lawn chair, all primary rules of medical ethics go out the window. Do not deprive others of the goods of life? Out the window. Do not incapacitate, cause pain or suffering? Out the window. Do not kill? It'd be a mercy. At least proceed in an organized manner to the nearest exit as quickly as possible, and lock the door. This is the beginning of 28 Days Later all over again. Instead, both doctors try to hold her down. Unfortunately, they're easily overpowered by half a teenage girl. The bitten doctors, who are moments from turning into zombies themselves, flee into another part of the hospital, followed by a fast as Call of Duty crawler. Just like that, the zombie virus spreads uncontrollably. Realistically, the police and military are going to struggle enormously to contain this due to how fast these things got out of control. That's if they even get a chance to mount any sort of response at all. Unfortunately, the situation at the school is on the verge of a second outbreak. Apparently, the nurse had gotten bitten while administering the sedative earlier. The two bullies try to snap a video of the nurse tweaking, assuming she's day crunk. As they're the first to encounter a real zombie though, there's pretty much nothing that can save them here. Class dismissed. And just like that, the zombies start multiplying in no time. The problem is, there's a continuous stream of people who are the first to encounter a real zombie from their perspective. Each new victim has no idea, and the next, until critical mass hits and it's too late. The other problem is that if all these zombies are infected with the same strain that Jinsu was, they can take quite a lot of damage before they go down, meaning any attempts to fight them are incredibly risky, and unless you can stomp their brains out drive style, they'll keep coming. That police friend has about the best chance out of anyone here, besides Mr. Lee, that is. As we see with a few of the students having their heads buried in books and earbuds blasting music, situational awareness is king to surviving the first moments of an outbreak. But it's also down to dumb luck if the zompocalypse pops off 30 minutes after you've swallowed a couple edibles, or if you're caught with a cone on your leg like a dumbass. Meanwhile, the oblivious principal is demanding his staff get control of the unruly students, refusing to call the police and emergency services, though it's a bit late for that. The dean is right. One look outside and you'll see people attacking each other. Unfortunately, they don't know just how bad it actually is out there. Miss Park's the first to find out. She ventures into the hallways to try and make an announcement. Bro, how do you get killed by a one-legged zombie? Whoa, man, what's with the bloody face? Why don't you, give me some space? Unfortunately, Miss Park hasn't been able to make her stern PA yet, as a wave of clearly rebellious students smashed into the glass doors leading to the cafeteria. Those gosh darn hooligans must be trying to kick off a food fight. Luckily, it's a pull and not a push from their side, giving our deer in the headlights a few precious moments to put their cornbread down and wake up to this nightmare. This is essentially the same thing as a kill zone in military terms, meaning your first priority is to get out of it ASAP, not to hide under a table, not to throw chairs at zombies or attack them with food trays, not to try and save anyone whose reaction is to completely mentally shut down like a gazelle in the mouth of a lion, like this girl. I'm sorry, but this chick's freezing hard. She's total dead weight. Leave her behind. It's what she would have wanted. Like that chick in 28 Days Later said, sometimes you have to leave people behind so you don't die. Every second that passes, the zombies' ranks grow exponentially larger. Every second, there's exponentially fewer uninfected people diverting the zombies' attention away from you. Legitimately, the only thing our protagonist can do here is to go with the flow of the stampede while quickly finding a low-traffic, defensible location to hunker down at, then barricade the shit out of it in an attempt to outlast Wuhan's latest creation. Easier said than done, I know, but it's their only chance. So, where should anyone still alive immediately race to? Where is this magical unicorn hiding spot where we can hold out at? First, we need to keep in mind generally how these zombies operate, how they sniff out fresh, succulent, uninfected meat, who they attack and why. Fair warning, I'm gonna take some liberties here, as I can't stand when more realistic zombies like these are magically given psychic powers to know who's a zombie and who isn't. Realistically, there's gonna be a lot of zombie on zombie friendly fire. It's gonna be messy. They're simply raged out humans with all the limitations of a normal human's physical senses. Without going too deep, let's presume that they're just normal humans overcome with an animalistic prey drive, for all we know. Similar to wolves hunting down misguided survivors of a plane crash, humans operating on base instincts overcome with maximum anxiety, anger, paranoia, and rage. For example, if you're covered in blood and bites, shamble sprinting while snarling like a feral beast, a rage-infected zombie might not see you as fresh prey. On the other hand, if you look Frank Reynolds clean, you're intelligently putting up a fight, or you're running away while screaming like a little girl, it'll enrage them further and trigger their prey drive. Put yourself in a zombie's shoes, infected with a virus that ignites the gunpowder in your veins. Your body feels hot with anger, your vision a red tunnel. Everyone normal looking, not like you anymore, feels like a threat to be ripped open, or a nuisance to be chewed into. Technically, they would view you as a threat, triggering your intense anger. How can I convey this in more relatable terms? Oh, okay. It's like when your stomach is growling from 6 hours of first world famine, and some Karen in front of you at Chipotle orders 5 burrito bowls to go, each laden with every single topping. Yes, pinto beans, a little more please. Half pico and the other half chili corn salsa. Fajita, just a little bit more cheese. Yeah, that's good. Oh, a side of guacamole for this one, and lettuce. Then for the other 4, I need blah, 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 blah. Then just when she's about to pay and get the out of your way, she remembers that she needs 4 more sides of queso too. It's gotta feel like that, but like at least 3 times more severe to a rage-infected person. As we all know, rage is blinding. It reduces the level of cognition in these zombies, meaning they won't be scouring you out like SEAL Team 6 raiding Osama's compound. They're more reacting to their immediate environment and anyone unlucky enough to be in it. Now, I'm certainly not one to underestimate my enemy, and thus wouldn't assume these things are completely mindless and couldn't figure out how to get to me. Like we saw earlier with Jinsu and the first chick to get infected, people infected with the rage virus can still retain some higher cognitive faculties in the early stages of zombification. Even full-blown zombies may retain a base level of intelligence and core memories. Similar to how, if you go for a meditative drive at night and zone out, you'll often mindlessly travel to someplace familiar. This makes hiding in any place familiar to other students or staff extremely dangerous, as the zombie could easily stumble into you. For this reason, don't choose hiding spots that may be in the primal memory of semi-conscious zombies. A nerd zombie might go to a classroom. A fatty zombie might shamble into the kitchen. A former basketball player might go to the gym, etc. For this reason, any common area or general classroom are about the worst hiding spots when combined with high level of traffic, low defensibility, and lots of windows that you could be detected through. Running anywhere outside is a no-go. It's safe to assume everywhere else could be swarming with zombies. Being caught out in the open by fast as 28 weeks later zombies with no clear safe destination is a near certain death sentence, a dice roll at best. A janitor's closet's better than a classroom with less traffic and less windows, but it still has low defensibility since it can't be securely locked, and enough survivors will have the same idea that you could be competing for the same hiding spot, and we all know how that goes. Not to mention your access to water is going to be non-existent, dead. The school's basement, or even something like a dumpster in the dumpster room, while being less trafficked, is still likely impossible to secure. If even a few zombies sniff you out or hear you, game over. No water, no food, it's impossible to signal to rescue teams from down there, dead. In my opinion, the absolute best location to run for is the school's roof. It has a single restrictable access point with no other way up. Well, for zombies, for the most part. Zombies won't know that you're up there if you're quiet. It's not a location a ton of zombies will think to run towards. If any survivors show up, you can let them up without too much risk, or not, and can easily signal to rescue teams who can then airlift you out via chopper. I'll expand on all these once we're up there. We know it's relatively accessible because some dork and a seppuku-sidal chick were already hanging out up there. The roof access point's most likely at the top of the main stairs located on the right side of the building, as seen from this image. It's also accessible by vertical piping all along the front of the building that can be climbed up, as we see later. As soon as we make it to the roof, we need to ensure no zombies can Kool-Aid a man through those doors. I'm assuming it's not lockable from the outside without keys, which I would be wrong. Apparently, it does have a lock, as we find out later. However, that easily may not have been the case. So, what do? What we can do as a temporary measure to keep the door shut is take our tie, button-down shirt, or even shoelaces off and knot it around both doorknobs with either a clove hitch or, even better, an anchor knot or round turn and 2 half hitches, similar to what's done later on by another guy. It's a mooring line knot for a reason. It's strong. Simpler overhand knots are far more risky. If a zombie starts plowing into the door, the knot has a strong chance of unraveling, which means you're about to have a very bad time. The round turn and 2 half hitches knot's pretty simple to remember too. Around, over, and through, over, and through. I actually tested these knots with both a tie and a button-down shirt, so you nerds can rely on this advice with confidence. And if you die because of me, no one will know. A belt would be useful as well, but it doesn't look like anyone's wearing them for their school uniform. Now that the double doors have a hasty lock on it, we need to find a stronger, more permanent way to jam the doors up. I'm not too keen on trusting my life with a tie. If we can perpendicularly line up enough objects between the edge of the roof and the doors, we should be able to effectively jam those doors shut. Looks to be about 25 feet at most between the edge and the doors. So we're gonna need a lot of random objects. Fortunately, this is a giant roof with a metric ton of random crap. With just a quick glance around, I already see a handful of desks, shelving just to the right of the doors, tons of chairs, a couple pallets, wood planks, metal scrap, a ladder, a ton of other stuff. If I was the dude on the roof with this chick, I'd have her hold the doorknobs in place so they can't easily turn and release the bolt, jam her shoe in the crack in the middle of the doors, and stay as silent as possible. If any zombies show up, we want them to run into what appears to be a locked door and nothing else. Again, temporary, but better than her standing around. We need that door to stay as shut as possible while the guy jams it. With her in position, I'd start with lining up the desks upside down with the shelving and ladders, then the chairs flat on their backs. Then fill the small leftover gaps with wood pieces or other small objects. We should easily be able to bridge the distance with all the stuff and create a sturdy enough jam that nobody could budge the door. Once that's done, we outfit ourselves like Wish.com Spartans with trash can lids for shields, sharpened broom handles for spears, and anything that can be used in closer quarters, like metal pipes. I would then stage the barrels and that tarp off in the far end corner as a last-ditch hiding spot, like Solid Snake if the door's being relentlessly assaulted and gives way. I doubt rescue's coming anytime soon, but if a chopper comes flying by, I want to have the best chance of being seen by them so a pickup could be coordinated. To that end, anything shiny to reflect sunlight, colorful pieces of that tarp, intelligently stacked organized objects in the form of an SOS, and a fire, should it be possible to create one by hand. Then, I'd get onto the roof access point area above the doors. Stay down, stay out of sight, stay quiet, and listen. Don't show yourself over the edge. Don't cry, don't pout, because Santa sure as hell ain't coming to town. The Ragers sure as hell will, though. I don't think we're at risk of these zombies ant-hilling up like World War Z. Rather, they seem like the type that'll try climbing up, or finding a way to you through the roof access points. There is piping up on the front of the building, but it's topped by a slight overhang that makes climbing up to the roof tough without human-level coordination. If I hear survivors at the door, whether I let them in or not will depend on whether it sounds like they're being chased or not. If not, it's just a matter of undoing the knot, kicking out a couple pieces of the jam, letting them up, then re-jamming and retying. I know you'd think that I'd let everyone die to save myself, and while tempting, we need more manpower to help us defend. If we survive long enough for the rain to come in, collect that with anything you can, especially using the tarp to funnel water into the barrels. Hydration will be our first priority and primary weapon against the zombies. Hold out for as long as possible. Shouldn't have to wait too long. Zombies should die from infection, wounds bleeding out, exposure, dehydration, you know the drill. Considering this is a man-made rage virus and not some magical hell being full BS, realistically, we'd only need to wait about a week before zombies died from dehydration, unless they were sipping out of the puddles, which is entirely possible. The roof is a great vantage point to see what the state of the zombies are, if they're puddle-sipping Zeeks, or if they're dying out. Back in the cafeteria, after like 20 minutes of going back and forth indecisively, a few survivors finally exit the immediate kill zone, hiding in the kitchen. I do wonder why he doesn't try shutting the security shutters. I doubt the zombies are gonna know how to pull it up. A few people manage to escape out the windows and into the open, which isn't really helpful for obvious reasons. It's pure luck that none of them get mauled, and that a flatbed truck with just enough height to reach the convenient landing above plows into the wall, giving them a vertical escape option. It's a show everywhere in the school. They do attempt to go up the stairs, but get blocked by a couple zombies, forcing them into a nearby classroom where a handful of other students are holding out. The defenses here are very weak. I mean, Whiteface here just busted through with no trouble at all. No barricading whatsoever, with the majority of the students just sort of hanging out, not actively working on survival. There's desks and furniture that they could use to barricade that door, which I would recommend, given how quick things are turning sour out there. I also can't overstate how urgent, especially early on, it is to find something to create weapons. Instead, they just got the one guy holding the door shut, while a bunch of others just freak out, and a group of 3 checks things out from the window. Jesus Christ, Four Eyes even has his back up against the window to the hallway that zombies are actively killing people in. Bro's about to get pulled through the window like that chicken Until Dawn. You think maybe you want to avoid being spotted? This is now a nerd-tatorship. New ground rules. If you open that door, if you draw attention to our position in any way, if you aren't actively strategizing a survival plan or, at minimum, barricading that door with your body, you're going out the window. One of the students manages to get a hold of a zombie's cell phone and uses it to call emergency services. The operator doesn't seem to take it seriously, though once reports start coming in from multiple sources, he will. With how quickly everything got out of hand and the zombies from the high school going all over town, and with a bitten chick going to the hospital, I think it's safe to say the city is already If we are stuck in this classroom, we need to barricade. It's only through plot armor that these zombies haven't savagely torn through that thin door and windows already, like they've demonstrated they are more than capable of doing. These are sliding doors, which means we need to jam up the action on them by using side-lying desks. Then using water, urine, whatever, we paper mache the windows to block line of sight, like Train to Busan, so as to not be detected. There's no real way to block the windows physically. Stacking excess desks in the doorway can't hurt, but they'll only really slow zombies down for a few seconds as they bull rush through them. It's not the best option. Really, you need people bracing the doors by pushing against them, while keeping them from sliding open, so as to not allow the door to be busted down. The desks just interfere with that. That's it. Lil Shrimp's going for a flight. Next up to bat is Big Man Whiteface. He tells the students to stack desks on top of each other and against the entrances to the classroom. Better than nothing, I suppose. As customary for newcomers, we need to complete a full check for bites, not some pathetic ocular pat-down. You strip down to your skivvies with multiple people cocked back ready to strike with anything heavy enough. I'm talking Marcus Crassus decimation. Good thing one of the girls is checking. Gym Teach over here sporting a nasty zombie hickey on his forearm, while the rest of the students were distracting him by politely asking him to leave. I would be flanking to his rear with a brick so I could brain him. You know he's not gonna voluntarily condemn himself to death, even if he knows he's bit. Which, I mean, it's kind of understandable. Getting chewed apart by zombies, sucks. It's gonna be significantly easier if you kill him before he's a zombie. Instead, they all just kind of stand around until he starts to turn. Jesus, he's on the ground writhing. This is the perfect time to stomp his daylights out. Okay, time to go. Without too many options, I say bolt for an adjacent classroom. Seems to have worked out better than I'd have thought. The students leave without a solid game plan, aimlessly running. Inevitably, they get trapped between hordes. South Korean Leonidas dismantles a handful of zombies, while the rest form a shield wall out of scrap to push their way upstairs. Doesn't work out super well. Besides all the cracks in their shield wall that zombies are biting and scratching them through, they're getting exhausted pushing against the ever-thickening mob surrounding them. Gee, sure would have been easier to just curb stomp your PE teacher. Now stuck in the middle of the hallway, they make a last-ditch effort to push to the nearby lab room. Luckily, it's not full of zombies either. Wow, we're back to where we were before. Cool. Some of the students are slow learners. This dude gets snatched through the windows by a zombie. Shouldn't ever have your back to a window. This should be painfully obvious. Block windows to block visibility. And the zombies seem to quickly forget about them when they lose sight, meaning the Zeds don't possess long-term memory or object permanence anymore. They're basically goldfish. Big, angry, bloody goldfish that want to kill you. Great. Relatively safe and secure for the time being, we need to check everyone for bites, lest extremely recent history repeat itself. If bites are detected, bash them over the head to knock them out, then out the window they go. It's the only way. Otherwise, they'll cause chaos, make loud noises, draw attention, fight us, or worse, zombify and infect more of us.
Hurry up, do something!
How about I throw you out the window for alerting the horde, you dumb bitch? Someone go look for duct tape so we can keep her quiet. As discussed, a classroom is not an optimal location to wait this out, nor is going back out to the hallway in search of greener pastures.
Are we even gonna make it down there?
My plan? Go out the window and up to the roof using the metal piping right next to our window. I get it. We have people who are too heavy or too weak to climb it. Screw them. Obviously, I'm kidding. We're gonna need them for meat. We can create a rope with footholds out of all of our clothing. Yes, all of it. The roof is only one floor up from their current location. However, this rope needs to be thick and sturdy enough to bear the weight of you-know-who to support extended use of all the students, with enough length to create enough footholds to make climbing easy enough for the weaklings. Yes, technically you don't need built-in footholds and can do the S-wrap technique, but it's a little trickier than it looks. And I would expect at least a couple people to die after messing it up while dangling. We can knot two ends of clothing together using a self-tightening Zeppelin bend with Zeppelin loop knots. They still have a phone and internet access, so look it up, then make it. Or even better, use the fire hose some chick conveniently unraveled earlier and left just within reach of their door. She must have known that it would come in handy for the plot later. Once our rope is fashioned, Ninja Bro ties himself off to one end, climbs the vertical piping one floor up to the roof, and anchors it by tying the end off to a desk or something, and wedging it next to the concrete wall. The others use it to easily climb up to the roof as well, and boom, salvation. This is kind of what they do. Except they go down to another classroom surrounded by zombies with no food, no water, and no chance of being rescued. Real smart, guys. Real smart. This would have prevented so much pain and suffering, as you'll soon find out. The point man successfully identifies a clear room, with none other than Miss Parks in it. They all slowly descend with the Z's knocking on the walls. Cry Girl takes up precious seconds of barricaded door time to mope. Wah, my friend. Yeah, I'm about to die too, so unless you want 2 lives on your conscience, I'd suggest you get moving. If I was getting that whiny from next in line, I'm cutting in front of her. I'm not sorry. I'm coming down the rope at the same time if I hear zombies breaking through. I'm straight up riddicking that catching the rope on the way down. Bro is certainly dead. His life ended because of a sob story. Oh, nope, he did Riddick that somehow. No way. Okay, clearly this guy's the main character. So he links up with Ninja Bro, both climbing into Miss Parks' room as well. It ain't over yet though. One of the Z's picked up some skills, monkey see, monkey do style. Ozzy rappelling down to Miss Parks' room for a piece of Chung San's Han Wu. He bit off more than he could chew, getting mopped up with the quickness. Mop's doing work out here. Well, let's put something over that window. We don't need more of those climbing down. At this point, a thought should occur to them that if they had simply climbed up, they could have retracted the hose, preventing any zombie access of the kind. This dude wouldn't have gotten a nasty scratch from getting handsy with a biter. Now, his status is in question. The rest of the group decided to quarantine him in the recording room for an hour to see if he really was infected, or if it was just a scratch from the mop handle. A tiny scratch could easily take longer than a bite from what we've seen so far, though an hour should be enough to see if the wound looks any worse or not. After an hour without incident, the mean girl goes in to apologize for wanting him to fly. I sure as hell would not let that chick tend to my wound by patting it with a rag. She's always hated this dude hard and wanted him dead on multiple occasions. Nothing good will come from it. For all you know, it's laced with zombie blood. Yep, that must have been what happened. Wow, I hate this girl. She needs to be thrown out the window. This group simply can't tolerate psychopathic murdering saboteurs. Eventually, the kid starts to turn, jumping out of the window before being fully overcome. Sure enough, another one of the students confirms my suspicion. Wait a second. You know this chick hates him. You know she wants him dead. Then you witness her wiping a rag on the bloody mop used to kill the window zombie, then put that rag in her pocket before agreeing to go apologize to the kid in the recording room, whom, might I remind you again, she voraciously hates, and didn't loudly ask what the hell she's planning on doing with it. She is up to nothing good with that. Why would you wait until now, after the damage is done? If she had spoken up earlier, his life would have been saved, and the mean girl would have been exiled, out the window, preferably. Unbelievable. The mean girl's forced to find her own hiding spot. A certain death, no doubt. Knowing this, Miss Park, aka Captain Save-A, follows her out the front door in an attempt to help her survive, consequently neglecting the honest, good-willed students that actually deserve her attention. Stupid. Dumb. If anything, Miss Park should have given her the Carol Lizzie treatment for her mental disorder. A helping kick in the ass on the way out, followed by a dinner bell. Back in Hell's Kitchen, Guinam, the class bully, throws a crying girl to the Z's, along with another guy. Then the chef lady too. Jesus, dude. If you all just worked together to triple team the Zeds, you'd have a much better chance at survival. All you did was create more zombies you're eventually gonna have to fight off. Eventually, the bully makes it back into the classroom, shanking zombies to death left and right. Lucky he's not catching any blood in the eye or getting scratched. Elsewhere in the school, 3 people are hiding out in the bathroom. Or should I say 2, considering one is suspiciously looking more and more like a zombie by the second. Smoker chick here knows what must be done. They need to give her the mother of all swirlies prontissimo. It's too late. The zombification happens in seconds. She instructs Big Dumb to keep the biter locked in the stall while she creates a mop spear and to keep his sausage fingers off the edge of the stall door. Apparently that needed to be said to this guy. Good God. Mop's doing work. It's not quite the killing blow Team Stall were hoping for, with the Rager sliding her chompers down the mop handle towards their hands. Before the smoker chick gets forced to cork its top off with a twist of the handle, Team Archer darts its skull. Across town, a TikToker is prepping for his Danger Tourism live stream, suiting up with a GoPro mounted helmet and some hockey gear. I say go for it. I'm sure you could make a killing in tips. Not as much as a hot girl licking a fake ear next to a microphone, but certainly more than whatever this dude was doing before. With no real plan whatsoever, he arrives at a school playground. I think you know what happens next. If you guessed the Resident Evil school scene, you're unfortunately only half right. Zombie kids do swarm him on the playground, but this clown manages to survive and be an annoying at for many intolerable minutes of runtime. You know what? Let's give ourselves a happy ending here and go with him being viciously torn apart by rage-infected toddlers. Yep, much better. It's now nighttime after day 1. Everyone in the classroom suddenly needs to go to the bathroom. It's a contentious debate over the exact method of relieving themselves that goes on for far too long. Guys, this isn't a middle school science fair. Just grab a bucket, go to the recording room, tear up your stupid vest for wiping, then dump out the window. What the hell am I even doing? The choppers flying around is a good sign that bases are being successfully defended and manned. Yet another good reason they need to head for the rooftop. It's the only location that can properly signal the chopper and be airlifted out from. It's okay. The students need not worry. The police are on their way. Eventually, after they rescue their criminal inmates. You know, priorities. Though after seeing their gear, I'm not too hopeful. They're only fitted with riot gear against hordes of zombies. Sure, I guess you can beat them to death with your nightsticks, and the riot gear will resist bites while doing so, but like, why? Who the hell hears reports of zombies from all over the city and decides to leave their Smith & Wesson Model 6038 revolvers in their lockers, put on glorified hockey gear, and stand outside banging their shield? Complete dumbass. I should also mention that you're going to want to be making close-range headshots with those 38s. It's actually quite common for normal people to take numerous gunshot wounds and still be up fighting and running before dying minutes later. These are cracked out zombies. Not ideal when they need to be put down for good quickly. Also not ideal when your only lethal weapon is a 5-shot revolver. You get 5 shots before you need to complete a tedious reload while under intense physical assault. Good thing you have those riot face shields because it is gonna get messy. Inside, the detective's still interrogating the lab teacher about his Jonas virus. There's clips of the teacher's virus creation diaries, but he never actually outright tells the detective what the virus is or how to treat it. He's never forthcoming with any information, sidestepping each question with BS rhetoric about how life's been unfair to him and his son. The lab's teacher's diaries are most likely in his home or science lab at school, both of which are inaccessible even if the detective knew that they existed. And even if they obtained them through some special forces mission, there's nothing on them that'll undo what's been done. But let's entertain for a second that the detective was better at his job, and we got him to tell us exactly what the Jonas virus is. We would learn that it's Toxoplasma gondii amped with potent mouse testosterone hormones that he extracted and refined. Or something. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and neither are the show's writers. It's a zombie show. I know it's often referred to as the Jonas virus. However, there is lots of evidence of this being a parasitic infection, like here on his chalkboard, where he writes the words toxoplasma, tachyzoite, bradyzoite, and parasitophorus vacuole before rushing off to presumably experiment on the infected girl that he chained up. More on these chalkboard words in a second. Further evidence is that T. gondii causes a phenomenon known as fatal attraction in infected rodents. This manifests as a loss of fear and aversion to cat odors, which is believed to then make the mice easier to catch and eat, and thus increasing the parasite's ability to spread through the cat's shit. The lab teacher constantly refers to this mechanism of T. gondii, which causes rodents to lose their sense of fear of predators, resulting in them sometimes going on the offense. It was these attacking rodents of which he extracted their elevated testosterone hormone from, refining it, infusing it with a T. gondii so that it not just lost fear of predators, but attacked as the predominant default mode for those infected with the parasite. Bro literally thought a parasite would make for a less shameful son. Honestly, I just think it's interesting to attack this from the perspective that it's a parasitic infection and not just another zombie virus. The upshot is that the parasitic infection could be controlled with antibiotics and anti-parasite medications, such as pyrimethamine. The problem with this treatment is that it's short-term, unreliable, and impossible to distribute or scale to the masses of zombies. Aha! But what about using a proactive dose of anti-parasite medications to prevent any zombification in the first place? Well, Toxoplasma gondii can't be fully eradicated from the human body. If you get bit, the T. gondii will still most likely establish a lifelong chronic infection mediated by the slow-dividing, slow-releasing bradyzoite form of the parasite contained within microscopic tissue cysts that don't show up on an MRI or any other diagnostic imaging procedures. Only serological tests, which don't really aid in their removal, since you can't tell where it is. Bradyzoids won't cause readily apparent physical signs and symptoms either. Likewise, these cysts, of which the precursor is known as the other chalkboard word, parasitophorus vacuole membrane, forms within most organs of their host, often located distant to blood vessels, making it hard for medications to affect them. And even if the drugs make it to the cyst, TG cyst walls are impregnable to most drugs. So yeah, it's bad. If an infected person ever gets immunosuppressed by any of the vast amounts of causes, like severe influenza, pregnancy, HIV, etc., the bradyzoids aren't controlled anymore by their immune system. They convert into a rapidly multiplying form called the tachyzoid, kicking off the zombification again, which in turn will kick off another world-threatening outbreak. Realistically, the only solution to those infected or exposed is death, as the lab teacher states in his diaries. Guess that right formation didn't hold. Wow, what a surprise. Right before the lab teacher gets swarmed, he tells the detective his diaries are in his laptop at the Hyosung High School science lab. That a cure may be possible despite his skepticism. I suppose it's worth sending in the stars to retrieve and study it. Armed with potentially world-saving information, the detective parkours off the staircase to the ground level without a moment of situational awareness, and nearly gets his face chewed off for it. Jesus, dude. Important information in your head. Remember? Maybe, be a little careful. The EMS guy from earlier, along with a few other survivors, were rescued off of a rooftop and taken to South Korea's Alcatraz. Essentially a FOB with SWAT teams on helicopters running rescue missions. See, the EMS guy is a father to one of the students at Hyosung, which means he's determined to fight his way back out to Hyosung in an attempt to rescue her. Yeah, sorry to say, with Hyosung being ground zero and your daughter not being an athlete or archer or anything, there's about a 99.9% chance that she's undead. It's simply not worth sowing panic and distrust at the last bastion of safety left to break out of quarantine to go on essentially a seppuku mission. If she's alive, she'd likely have made it to the rooftop where rescuers could pick her up. If she's hiding somewhere else, you're not finding her. Not without killing every zombie in Hyosung first. It's just dumb. I mean, if this was your plan all along, why did you even board the rescue chopper to begin with? Why wouldn't you have simply found another way to ground level and continued your search from there? The building you were rescued off of was likely far closer to Hyosung High than Alcatraz is. Oh, I know why he boarded the chopper. He thought she might have been rescued already. Newsflash, dipshit. They have one chopper, maybe two, limited manpower and fuel, and aren't going to prioritize picking up some stupid high school kids, even if there were survivors on the rooftop. And can you be honest with yourself for a second? Do you really think your daughter had the luck, brains, brawn, and capability to make it to the rooftop in time? No, she was a bookworm that most likely was chewed apart while hiding under her desk. Disregarding all logic, EMS dad splinter cells out of the base. Oh, come on. Realistically, he would have been shot to pieces. No chance he'd have survived without nasty, debilitating gun wounds at minimum. Oh, I'm sorry, he did get grazed. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Once back ashore, he raids an abandoned police armory, loads up a couple shells into a Remington 870, racks the pump, and blows apart a couple zombies. I mean, you could have simply closed the door first to give yourself more than 3 seconds to load a shotgun, but whatever. He then proceeds to only take the one shotgun with some spare shells. I get traveling light, but goddamn, man, look at all those beauties just lying there. Looks like a semi-auto tube fed in there too. At least max load 2 and fill your backpack with shells. 2 loaded shotties slung would give you anywhere from 10 to 12 shells on standby, depending on tube capacity, as opposed to a 4+1 from a single shotgun before needing to quiver fumble some more shells under extreme duress. It's now morning of day 2. A fleet of AH-64E Guardian attack helicopters are flying in the distance. It's a very good sign that the South Korean military is functional and coordinating efforts. The South Korean Air Force does have around 36 of these bad boys that can patrol the perimeter, eliminating larger hordes with its M230 30mm chain gun and Hydra 70 air-to-ground unguided rockets, along with 140 Blackhawks that can be used for rescuing people like us off of rooftops. We just need to get there and signal to them, as we should have done a long time ago. Team Bathroom Archers are going to the second floor in search of the Archer chick's brother. So, not the roof. Dumb. They do have skill though, using spears up front to guard the archers. Naturally, they don't find her brother, on account of him most likely being dead, like everyone else. It's at this pivotal point that they choose to head downstairs to get more arrows, instead of upstairs to the roof. They still have like at least 8 or so arrows, enough to fight their way to the roof where they won't need more arrows, because they're on the roof and don't have to fight, and actually have a chance to be rescued. That's the priority. You will never shoot your way out of this situation with that bow. Whoa, wait, look how many arrows she has. What do you need more for? Jesus, just go to the roof. They survive the trek, with the biggin taking an accidental stab wound to the abdomen. Once safely inside, they quickly grab some extra arrows, fashion a hasty stretcher out of trash, and plan to carry Biggie out into the mountains. That's it. You guys realize you will never make it out dragging all that dead weight. Sorry, but this is where he gets off. It's a lesson quickly learned after being immediately swarmed the second they step outside. With their hope firmly being crushed, and with a horde of zombies now alerted to their presence, they decide to hold out for now. Up on the roof, 2 of the luckiest survivors in this whole outbreak are making the most of their good fortune. SOS signs, water collectors, proper jams on the doors, looking for survivors, fashioning ropes to help rescue others fleeing from the madness, etc. Nah, just kidding. This mopey doomer is concerned with her racy photos getting auto-posted online by a bully's phone. A bully who harassed her into taking them. I promise you, she really is this dumb. If you want to get pissed off for no reason, go watch this TV show for yourself. It's grade A rage-baiting stupidity. Everyone you know has turned into a flesh-eating monster, including your entire family, with the world in flames for all you know, and all you care about is your stupid, blouseless pictures, to the point where you're willing to risk your life trying to find his phone so you can delete it before it's posted? That sounds really, really dumb and impossible. You do realize that his phone could be in his pocket while he's a zombie. If it's somewhere else, you can't possibly know where it is in this entire building, nor which phone is his. Even if you manage to pick up his phone, you won't be able to access it without a password of some sort. Simply destroying the phone won't do anything when the picture was already uploaded to social media servers and scheduled to post. I'm glad we get to follow some truly insufferable characters around. It's great, really. Bro, just let her go.
Why are you doing this to me?
Good riddance. Like with the live streamer, this miserable waste of a human does survive, becoming a hybrid carrier who goes on to be even more irritating and antagonistic to the rest of the innocent survivors who never bullied her. There's not even a showdown with the bully. Definitely a missed opportunity. I would rewrite this to a better ending for our sake. However, the show does give us a pretty good one. She eventually is caught by the military, strapped to a chair, and experimented on until she's no longer useful. At which point, I can only imagine she was left to starve to death in her glass box while the guards ate popcorn and played card games. Back in the classroom, dehydration's starting to set in. Unfortunately, there's no real way to procure any water from here. I'd say you could potentially capture fire sprinkler water, but I don't know, man. I might start with my own urine before that shit. Yes, I'm aware that won't help. What they should do is send Ninja Bro outside to scale the building in search of an empty room close to a water fountain, so he can sneak over real quietly to bottle up enough for the whole crew using that pink thermos they have. You would think that 2 days of dehydration would be taking an immense toll on their health and minds, creating an insatiable desire to find water by any means. You would be wrong. Apparently, the more pressing issue is their lack of news access. Main character and Ninja embark on a harrowing, life-risking mission to retrieve some phones from the zombie-infested teacher's office. Why? You got me. Pretty sure you can't drink the news. See what I was talking about? No way this is realistically survivable. I do see the merit in retrieving a phone you could make a rescue call from. However, a signal fire on the roof would do a good enough job and is significantly safer than playing tag with zombies. I skipped over about 20 minutes straight of this dude running around the entire school, narrowly avoiding being killed about 100 times before he makes it back with a phone that can't even be used because in their infinite wisdom, Martial Law Command, in the interest of operational efficiency of rescue efforts, turned off all internet, cell, and landline communications in Hyosung. Right. So how exactly are you gonna find people to rescue? Oh, I get it. There's no rescue efforts. Well, that's bad news for our students. Their new plan is to go back up to the science lab using the fire hose, find a drone along with extra parts needed for it to fly, and use it to look for Chung-san, who, for all they know, is most likely dead. And that is not just he might be dead. That's a 95% dead, most likely. What can I say, bro? You shouldn't have risked your life for a cell phone. Mavic mission is a success, eventually finding Chung-san in another classroom, 2 floors down. The plan? By only blasting Gangnam Style on the left side PA speakers only, they can lure the zombies away while they slip out, rescue Chung, reunite with lots of hugs and kisses, then sneak up to the roof by way of the center stairs. Wait, so you could use the PA and drones to lure zombies towards certain areas and didn't use this to procure water from a water fountain? You do realize you are all dead in less than 24 hours without it, right? Regardless, why not just blast the music and meet him on the roof? Why unnecessarily risk a big, slow group like they have now when Chung-san clearly is more than capable of meeting you there on his own? The dude survived the world's most intense game of parkour chase tag. Sure enough, one of the kids drops his little pink thermos, blowing their cover immediately. That's it, he's going out the window after this. Ninja Bro gets saved by the class bully, who then attacks him because, well, he's an evil POS. The bully bites his girlfriend before Sung can tackle throw his ass out the window. It's an understandably confusing and contentious debate back with the group in the next classroom, with Ninja Bro defending her, saying that the bully wasn't a zombie, and thus, she's not going to turn. With Chung-san on the offensive, saying that the bully was 100% bitten by zombies, and if he bit the girl, she will turn into a zombie. Ultimately, none of it matters anyway, because the girl does the only sensible thing to do in this situation. Sit by the window ready to do a diver backward roll entry technique onto the pavement 4 stories below. After a few intense minutes, she kind of turns, but not fully. Not really what I would call asymptomatic either. Basically a carrier of some sort. Most of the other students still want her out the window, as would I. But none of these weak-ass chickens can stand toe-to-toe against Liu Kang here, so she stays. It's at this moment that someone speaks up about the adjoining storage closet having recently received a new haul of snacks and sodas before the outbreak kicked off. Thanks for just now mentioning this when everyone's knocking on death's door from dehydration. Jesus. It was on the same side of the building that they were on too. You could have swung a drone by, realized it's empty, sidestepped over to it, grabbed some snacks, then made for the roof. Hell, the storage room has a window on it you could break from the outside, bypassing the big room entirely. Whatever, you're here now. Pack up as much as you can while you can. Which they do try to do. The problem is that that girl from earlier is hiding inside it, so afraid that they would kill her that she locks the door from the inside. Their biggest dude fails to shoulder the door down, quickly giving up all hope and sitting down. What the hell? We've established that zombies lack object permanence and long-term memory. We've also established that you're going to die without ingesting something here shortly. If there's a chance that the closet is stocked, you need to know. Of all the insanity that has been your decision-making process for the past 48 hours, right here, this is where you take a knee. If you're so concerned about noise, go outside, scale across as you've done many times before, bash the window out, beat Pink Sweater to death with a Coke can, then drink it. Man, I bet that Coke would taste so sweet after 2 days without water, and beating that bitch to death with it. But nope, they do nothing of the sort, simply ignoring sheer dehydration. Considering this classroom is as terrible a spot as the last 20 classrooms they fought their way into, Class 2-5 devises yet another absurdly risky, overly convoluted Ruby Goldberg plan. Brace yourselves. Their new plan is to create a desk wall, then open the door on the other side to lure zombies in. Once all the zombies from outside are piled up on the other side of the room in their room, they'll take the back door out and up to the roof. I feel like we're kind of ignoring a significant power differential here. If the hundreds of zombies outside are now barging up against that shoddy barrier with only the handful of you backstopping it, they will absolutely steamroll you. That's not even taking into consideration Z's jumping over, breaking through some weaker areas, scratching you through the holes in the wall. It's all relying heavily on there being 0 zombies out in the hallway afterwards, which realistically, you can't know. You may think it's clear, then another handful come around the corner as you're sneaking. Even if you make it up to the roof doors, it very well could be locked, whether by default or by other survivors unwilling to risk their sweet hiding spot, leaving you completely stranded with no options. Dead as hell. Honestly, at this point, just break into the storage closet from the window side, then chill with all the soda and snacks on tap. If you did really want to go through with this plan, at minimum, have Ninja use the pipes to climb to the roof and ensure that the roof doors are unlocked first. Well, the desk wall strategy miraculously works, because of course it does. Until they hit the locked roof door. Oof. It's almost as if having an uncertain destination was a bad idea. It's that loser from earlier, unwilling to open the door. Not because he's scared that they could be infected or that zombies are gonna bust through right behind them. No, he doesn't want to open the door because he was bullied by a few scumbags, and therefore condemns all of humanity to one of the most horrific fates. Getting chewed apart by your own friends, only to get locked inside your own enraged, hateful body, puppeted by toxoplasmic rage, tearing apart your own friends, family, and kin with some level of consciousness as to what you're doing, unable to stop yourself. I swear to God, when I force my way up to the roof, this worm is getting folded up like that zombie in the MRI machine. Upward facing dog, hands pulling his head back, and a swift kick to the lower spine. I'm not even gonna throw him off the roof. I'm just gonna leave him there. Entertainment's hard to come by in the zombie apocalypse. Sadly, that day will never come. A rescue chopper arrives, deploying armed soldiers who ask him if there's any other survivors. He shakes his head no, full well knowing that there's innocent people banging on the door, yelling for his help. Survivors that could 100% be securely saved by the soldiers. What an enormous piece of shit. Grade A infuriation. I think I'm coming down with the Jonas virus after watching these depressed, weak-willed, bitter bug people condemn innocent people because they're too deep in their sad boy fifis. More proof that weak men create hard times. This TV show's less horror and more rage bait. To make matters worse, the bully's back, having risen from the dead a second time. Their own half-breed Ip woman knocks him back down. As the chopper leaves, an extremely convenient fire sets off an emergency door unlocking procedure, allowing our protags to reach the top before being overwhelmed by the hordes. Now would be a great time to reinforce that door, create water collectors, arm everyone with makeshift spear weapons, take shifts watching for rescue teams, survivors, zombie behavior, create high-vis SOS signs utilizing the blue tarp to make it stand out, and most critically, send the half-breed chick downstairs to go get food and water. She's technically one of them, can't be further infected, won't be attacked by other zombies, and has super strength and hearing. Seems like a no-brainer. Her crush, Ninja Bro, and Chong San can go with her as backup, allowing her to clear the path ahead first. If the bully or any more malicious, violent forms of half-breeds attack her, they can roll in with spears like Crassus's men at the end of Spartacus. Instead, they sit around telling dumb stories while their bodies start to shut down from dehydration. They're about to wish that they were fueled up with Cocalcorn and Milkus. Guinom climbs up the pipes and tunes everyone up. Probably because all they had to attack him with were brittle pieces of plywood. Gee, one of those mops sure would have been nice right about now. In another bout of sheer luck, he fails to scratch anyone before getting thrown off the roof. Again, man, this dude's gotta be tired of getting sent. Considering this dude survived a previous deadly fall, we can be reasonably sure that he may have survived this one too. Eliminating the bully should be their main priority right now. Nothing else comes close to the danger that this guy poses, especially since he can easily reach the rooftop using the pipes, and can do so again. Everyone needs to man the walls with spears, ready to shank a hole through his face if he tries to climb up again. Meanwhile, Namra, our own half-breed, needs to run downstairs right now and separate Guinom's head from his body while he's still incapacitated. It's the only way to be sure. If they don't, he will just come back up and start scratching everyone, bust the roof doors down and flood the roof with zombies, or just burn the building down. That's what I would do. On the other side of town, the detective, along with Yoonji, get picked up by a special mission rescue team and get taken back to Alcatraz. Somehow, the half-breed Yoonji, who was bitten 100 times, gets through the initial screening process. The detective informs the commander about the lab teacher's laptop, so they send a special mission team to Hyaesung High to retrieve it. 4 soldiers rappel onto the rooftop, force all the students onto the ground, and check their temperatures. Everyone reads normal except the half-breed chick, who supposedly has a hypothermic reading. Uh-oh, she's about to get shot in the back of the head. Except not. It actually prompts the soldier to wrap her in an emergency heat blanket. At this point, the base has a zombie in custody being tested, which would have revealed that they have hypothermic temperatures. The soldiers conducting rescue missions should have been informed that an abnormally cold reading is indicative of infection. In her case, nobody else was even remotely as cold as she was given the same circumstances. So what's the point in even testing temperature if it's not being used to identify those infected? I mean, do they really care if somebody's cold? They didn't even bring water. You're telling me the SWAT teams brought emergency heat blankets, but not food or water? Okay. Where the soldiers go wrong, again, in my opinion, is not extracting the uninfected students first. You know, the laptop's not going anywhere. By waiting, they're forced to split forces, leaving one man behind while the other 3 essentially open the roof doors and stir up the hornet's nest with unsuppressed gunfire. Cool. Suppressors would have been helpful. With the laptop secured, they retreat to the roof with zombies on their tail. Once topside, they attempt to extract the students one by one, only for extraction to be halted due to the attack back at Alcatraz. The half-breed Cry Girl from earlier somehow passed inspection, probably because the guards are mindlessly checking temperatures without even knowing what to look for. Well, she got a little too hungry and chewed into the worm boy's neck. Instead of immediately executing her with gunfire, they box her up for testing, revealing that asymptomatic carriers of the infection exist. You know, you could have figured out that she was asymptomatic by doing a serological test after gunning both her and the bug boy down. Just saying, why take the chance? Well, this discovery made the commander unsure whether or not the students were potentially asymptomatic too. Not wanting to risk a critical Black Hawk helicopter should someone turn mid-transport, he calls the whole extraction off, telling the soldiers to shoot all the kids and return with a laptop only. I mean, if you guys didn't suck, you would know that all 3 zombies being held at your base, asymptomatic or not, were permanently severely hypothermic, giving you reasonable confidence in the infection status of those being transported, at least enough to make the transport to Alcatraz where they could undergo a serology test in conjunction with their standard month-long quarantine, which would be more than enough proof that they're uninfected. At minimum, you could provide them with food and water until you had more of a handle on the situation and a confirmed methodology for testing. Or you could shoot all the kids. Sure, they can't be infected if they're dead. Meanwhile, EMS Bro is still making his way to them. On his way, a rogue survivor begs him to extract his pregnant wife from their badly damaged car. EMS Bra says he can't without his tools because the door frame's jammed. I concur. However, can't she be pulled out from the driver's side door? Nope, apparently not worth the 20 seconds to try. Dude is so good at his job, he already called the time of death on preggers. EMS hands the distraught husband his only shotgun, who proceeds to immediately aim it back at him to force him to help. Nice. Didn't see that one coming. You know, if you were gonna hand a random survivor your only shotgun, your primary means of defense, wouldn't it have been nice to have 2 shotguns? Not to mention, the shotgun is entirely useless in this guy's hands against more than a couple zombies at best. Literally no point. Back on the roof with the students, it starts raining. This prompts exactly nobody to attempt to capture it in any meaningful way, even though they could easily be going a week without another rainfall. How the hell is anyone even still alive at this point? I'm pretty sure we're over 3 days here, with no food, no water, on the brink of organ failure. Changsan says that they can move to the mountains, using the thunder as sound cover like fuck Vasily Zaitsev. Okay, this isn't Stalingrad. You're not a made-up hero for war propaganda. And most importantly, zombies, similar to humans, hunt primarily using sight. Changsan here's emanating big John Otway tendencies. Get to the tree line. I don't doubt that there's less zombies in the mountains, and if you escape here, there won't be many following you. It's just getting there that's a bit of a problem. They also technically don't know that soldiers won't be back and didn't just leave because the chopper had an issue or that the base was overfilled already and couldn't take any more people. The students were never given a reason. From their POV, it's still possible a rescue team might come back. One of the other girls pipes in that once they get to the mountain, they can then go to the adjacent city called Yangdong. Someone get this woman some water, because her brain has clearly become severely desiccated. Besides, with more fires lit, signs, lookouts, it's possible that the archery team could have realized a band of survivors were up there, signaled from their own rooftop of the archery center, then coordinated a way up to the roof with everyone else first. Then, they could have gone with a roof holdout, or at minimum, had way better chances with their mountain plan by traveling as a coordinated unit with additional long-range firepower. Still dumb though. Just stay. You're in the most defensible position possible. Hell, Liv Moore here can literally start murdering every zombie downstairs without being attacked or able to be zombified. She could single-handedly clear out the entire building for you, obtain food, water, sodas, whatever you need. It's not going to be great for her mental health, but, you know, desperate times, desperate measures. Naturally, they barely make it to the ground level before the mistake of an op falls apart immediately after Changsan runs into his zombified mom. Dude starts fighting his own teammates, his screams alerting the horde. People falling, people getting left behind and swarmed, people fatally splitting off into the forest. It is a complete disaster. Well, 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 if it's not the consequences of my own actions. I love it. Unsurprisingly, the Archer team moronically follows them, even full well hearing the immediate disaster it was from a distance, and they brought fresh 80-20 beef for the zombies too. How nice. Already lost, they seek the perceived safety of the nearby gymnasium, which also, unsurprisingly, is full of zombies. Thankfully, Biggie takes his long time coming L. With nowhere to go, everyone except for Archer Bro piles into the ballroom. The next morning, the kids hatch a new plan. Their plan? Use the ball cages as a circle wagon phalanx to move to the exit, I guess? They never say. Always great to have an unknown destination. Now, there's a debate about how to construct the wagon shield. Option 1. Flip the lid horizontally so it's facing inwards, allowing them to hide underneath in a little tunnel. Option 2. Tie the lid vertically to use as a more conventional barricade. Of the two stupid options, I would go with option 2, vertical lid. We need to be able to stand up straight in order to fight them off and move quickly. If we're stuck on our hands and knees with zombies on top of us, it's gonna be extremely difficult to push in any direction or fight any zombies off. That's not even accounting for the inwards tipping once zombies pile on top of the center. I'm not sure how they would escape with a horizontal lid with zombies on top of them if they manage to even reach a destination, especially if the horizontal lid is lower than the doorknob, preventing them from opening any doors. And even if they can open a door, you need a vertical barrier to keep the zombies back while you run, or else they'll just climb on top and follow you. However, a much better option would be to open one of the doors, have everyone push against a ball cage to block the choke point, then with mop spears and arrows, start eliminating the zombies. Or, just have the half-breed eat the full chocolate bar, grab a baseball bat, walk outside, and bash all their heads in. The underutilization of their own immune zombie is tragically stupid. The Phalanx plan is also tragically stupid. They just surround themselves with porous cover that their hands could easily be scratched or bitten through. It's gonna be hard to physically push in one direction against tons of zombies, if they could even tell what direction they're going in. Zombies realistically would be climbing over it, jumping into the circle and massacring everyone. Sure enough, that's exactly what happens. Small Fry gets bitten on the hand, forcing him to leap out of the circle in an attempt to lure the zombies away before he inevitably joins their ranks. The survivors eventually push the wagon circle to the exit doors on the other side of the gym, only to find out it's locked. Gee, almost like it was a stupid risk to take considering how many locked doors that you've run into, and the consequence of that being certain death. Even if you could open it, there's probably lots of zombies out there as well, which there are. When all hope is lost and death seems inevitable, they're saved by a Deus Ex Machina EMS bro. Are you kidding me? No way he found them in the entire campus. No way the zombies aren't up his ass. No way he opened that chained lock with nothing on his person or bolt cutters. Even if he did, the doorknob's still probably locked too. They would all be dead if not for this literal plot miracle lightning bolt lottery ticket of luck bestowed by the gods themselves. His plan? Run for the tennis courts that have chain link fences around them, where they're surrounded again, with zombies pouring in, magically getting caught on a tennis net, and also magically lured away by a clearly OP flare in broad daylight when face to face with fresh meat. All dumb luck. Seriously, how do you get caught on a tennis net? If you've ever run into a tennis net before, you know you just fall over onto the other side, which the zombies would, and then they would kill them all. Naturally, relying solely on temporary flares to defend himself, EMS Man simply dies. Realistically, the only way this works is if EMS Bro had 2 shotguns slung with 10 to 12 rounds of buckshot at the ready with a box of shells on tap. Certainly enough to mess up any small hordes coming their way, giving the rest a fighting chance while you reload. Just going back for a bit, again, had they held the roof with fires, the archers, EMS Bro, and other survivors would all have easily found each other. With the archers, plus a couple shotguns with a backpack full of ammo, they could have blown the bully's head off, as well as been far more successful in clearing out the entire school, well enough to scavenge tons of food and supplies. The students escape into a construction site onto some scaffolding. Uh-oh, Namra's getting hungry. Her crush tells her to bite him next time so that he can end up like her. Are we sure that's how this works? Didn't seem to help anyone infected by Guinom, but by all means, feel free to test it for us, because immunity, super strength, regenerative healing, all very cool. Big fan. Worst comes to worst, if anyone gets bit or if the group gets totally swarmed, Namra could last-ditch bite everyone in hopes that they'll turn into half-breeds like her, and not mindless animals. Since they never eliminated the bully threat when they had the chance, he finds them and takes a fat bite out of Chong-san before the others knock him off the scaffolding. Dude's gotta be getting real tired of this. God dang. Chong-san, or Namra, needs to go down and turn his head into tomato soup right now. He's a bigger threat than anything else right now. Instead, Chong-san just bully Maguires him.
You're trash, Brock.
Then gets completely wrecked. Meanwhile, the military's planning on using drones emitting loud noises to draw the zombies into a handful of key locations, which they will strike with bombs. Hyosung High is one of the targets. About time. It'll thin the numbers to where military units surrounding the full perimeter of Hyosung can defend against nomadic hordes more easily. The military's nice enough to warn people with helicopter loudspeakers ahead of time. The students rush into the mountainside just in time, with the bomb's shockwave exploding everything around them. Guinam and Chongsan get nuked, solving both of those problems. Instead of remaining in the mountains, the kids waltz into the city of Yongdong like there's no more zombies because a few bombs went off. What the hell is going through your dried up brains? Of course there's going to be lots of stragglers, and there are. Zombies converge on them from all directions, lots of them. And wouldn't you know it, the viral chick isn't getting targeted because she's already infected, proving my earlier strategy of using her as a one-woman army. It's a street brawl, with one of the dudes getting zombified. The remaining students finally reach a military blockade, where after all their struggles, hardships, sacrifice, and suffering for days and days trying to reach the safety of humanity, are summarily executed by a firing squad. Okay. All the survivors are taken back to a quarantine zone. All except for Namra because, well, it's pretty obvious they're not going to take her in. She smartly decided to stay in the dead zone. We cut to 4 months later with the refugees still not being allowed out of the camp because they still haven't been able to develop a proper way to test for the virus, which sounds like total BS. The quarantine is so effective that the students climb a fence, run back to the school where the zombies are still actively roaming, to have a little bonfire reunion with the half-breed chick. What the fuck? All the hell and high water to escape, and once you get to safety, you risk it all going back to where there's sentient half-breeds and thousands of zombies likely still roaming around. Wow. Namra tells them that there's others like her still surviving in the dead zone. I would ask where, so I could tell the new commander to firebomb it into oblivion. I'm sorry? Well, I'm not sorry. Namra and those like her are far too risky to keep alive. I know she's your friend and all, but she's a walking, world-ending time bomb just waiting to go off at some point. Unless you enjoyed the past few days, that is. The movie ends with Namra going on to accidentally obliterate the rest of the world, completely erasing hundreds of thousands of years of humankind's progress to get to where we are now, due to the corruptive power of friendship. As the main group of students, I think we could have easily survived atop the rooftop. Once the bombing run was announced, simply using Namra to annihilate all the zombies in our path, we could have exited out to the mountainside. For this reason, I think All of Us Are Dead was beaten. Moral of the story, don't throw your enemies, turn them into paste.